And welcome to PM Express. And today we are talking about doctors neglecting posting to the northern part of Ghana. How sad it is. Health is wealth, and there should be equity everywhere. We are all Ghanaians and we are all entitled to health care. However, for one reason or the other, when doctors get posted up north, they have a whole list of reasons why they say, look, for these reasons, I am not accepting this postings here. However, when it comes to training and there's any subsidies and they are collecting taxes, I don't think the government will say, well, these people are from the north, so we're not going to use their taxes in terms of training you. Everybody's taxes are put together to train a doctor. However, the doctor will say, I won't go to the north. Some will say they may have legitimate reasons because those who stay down south then have a head start and have far more advantage than those who go up north. How do we bridge this gap and bring equity? It's a serious issue. Now, if you look at doctor-patient ratio, the nation is looking at one doctor to approximately about 10,000 patients. Up north, you're looking at one doctor to over 60,000. You ask yourself, even if you're sat by his desk just dispensing paracetamol, when is it going to be your turn to just get a sachet of paracetamol? That's a serious issue that has to be dealt with. Year in, year out, we hear the same story, but what's the solution? We're going to hear from advocates, we're going to hear from doctors who were on the ground and see which way it is we go make it better. My name is Nana Ansakwao, the fourth Chief of the Little Republic. If you know it, Akwamwedu Masa. When I come back, we are finding why it is doctors don't want to go up north. Don't go. Well, I have with me here Sido Aho. Sido, you used to be Universal Healthcare, but now?
Yeah, country focal person for the Africa platform for Universal Health Coverage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming.
You're most welcome.
Good. This issue, doctors refusing posting to the north, is legendary, one will say. And I know you've talked about it and argued about it. Can you put a finger on two things or one thing that you say, look, these are the reason?
I think largely the issues are known that we have infrastructure deficits in largely the three northern regions, and I'm talking about roads. The three northern regions, I'm talking Upper West region, Upper East, and Northern region. These are the regions where you have most of the district capitals not connected to the regional capitals by third roads. So it reduces transport and communication activities. Secondly, we don't have most of the social amenities and essentially like education. So for example, you may have a doctor who wants to stay in a particular district, but he or she is concerned about the quality of education the children are going to receive. That notwithstanding, I don't think it is an excuse for us not to have our trained medical doctors or physicians not accepting posting to our districts. Why do I say this? We have Cuban doctors who are brought in here year in, year out. And when you go to the remotest parts of our country, you find them there doing very good job. At the same time, our brothers and sisters who are trained by our tax money get the benefit of so many things that ordinary students at the university or other students who do not pursue the medical field do not get. I remember when we were at the University of Nyankpala, our colleagues, they used to go to Tamil Teaching Hospital for their classes. They have the best of school buses, they use air conditioning, all right, and they have some packages that the other students did not have. And so I wouldn't understand why at the end of the day, when they are posted to go and provide the services for which they have been trained, they will refuse. But to some extent, I will want to redirect the discussion or focus the discussion somewhere. The Ghana Health Service is responsible for training, recruiting, and distribution of human resource for health. So once it is their responsibility to recruit and post and then to retain, I lay the blame squarely there, and particularly the Director of Human Resource for Health Directorate at the Ghana Health Service. because I believe it is part of his responsibility to ensure that every district in this country that has a health facility has a trained physician and support staff to man the facility and to provide the needed healthcare service. But year in, year out, we have the Ghana Health Service coming to tell the people of this nation that, oh, human resource distribution in the country is not equitable. We have most of the districts, doctors concentrated in Kumasi and Accra. Instead of coming to tell us that we have been able to address part of the problem by ensuring that we have posted X number of doctors to these deprived districts and we have retained them, they would rather come and tell us that of X number of doctors we have posted to the Upper East region, Upper West region, and Northern region, most of them have come back. Question is, where do they work? You find out that most of them come back and they find themselves in government facilities paid by the same Ghana Health Service. So I think that it is a failure on the part of the Human Resource Director of the Ghana Health Service. I don't want to generalize. It's the Human Resource Director of the Ghana Health Service. I do not think that the Director of the Human Resource for Ghana Health Service should continue to enjoy it. It's a failure. It's a performance failure. The current one and the previous ones, I will want to lay the blame on them. I think that systematically we should have addressed this problem by now.
Because you're thinking if you refuse the posting and you come down south, you should forfeit your pay.
You shouldn't. So if I am posted to facility A and let me say Boga, which is a government facilities, and I say I won't go, and then I come back and maybe later, then I find myself in the facility B or C in the eastern region or Greater Accra, and paid by the same person who posted me there and I paid. Who's encouraging it? It's not the one who recruited and posted. So I think that it's kind of they're paying lip service, and I think the Director General of the Ghana Health Service will need to take a second look at this issue and make sure that the Human Resource Director for Ghana Health Service is held accountable. If we can have performance target for him, say, okay, by the end of 2018, when we have posted our doctors to this region, we expect that not less than 50% of those who have posted this are retained there. That notwithstanding, we also have to look at some of the concerns that our medical doctors have, because we shouldn't also forget that they are human beings just like they are. I would want very good education for my children, you know, and the same, my colleague who's gone to the medical field and is posted to the facility will also want the same. So government will also have to address the structural programs the regions and the trade regions in the northern sector faces. It's not only the northern trade regions and northern, but we also have some part of the Volta region that are very deprived. These are very serious issues we have. I think it is not fair and it is not right for our medical doctors to refuse posts. And the Director General must sit up. I think he's sleeping on a job, to be very honest with you.
It's a huge problem, because if you look at the region we are talking about, the magnitude of it, and you know, there are pockets and towns dotted all over who need health services, and which means that then the government should make sure that all these towns have first-class schools and first-class accommodation. And when are we going to start and when are we going to finish for us to post doctors, and then they are going to say, well, okay, I'm comfortable here?
You know, I am too young, but going back into times, I haven't had our parents and some of our senior brothers who had the benefit of the education back then. We didn't have fanciful classrooms. We didn't have luxurious classrooms, but there was quality of the education. To such an extent that you have people like Bagwin, Dr. Kumbua, etc., who are intellectuals, who are highly educated, attending, and even some people from the southern part of it who attended some schools in the northern region that produce quality human resource for this country. I think it's an issue Ghana Education Service will have to address, but it is a larger issue we have in the country where educational standards are going down. To such an extent that we have more trust in the private facilities where teachers are paid based on their performance, where there's no wholesale promotion, where the owner of the school knows that if the children do not perform, people will not take their children to his or her school. And for that matter, there is strict supervision, and they make sure that whatever resources or teaching and learning aids the schools need, they provide them, making sure that the children come out very well. But you realize in the public sector, especially in the GES, at the lower level, You have drunk teachers who are there. You have teachers who regularly absent themselves. And we also have higher number of people to teacher ratio or teacher to pupil ratio to such an extent that the teachers are not able to pay much attention to the children. So it's a myriad problem. But I think that if Ghana Education Service is properly resourced and provided with the materials and also we increase the supervision, by and large, we should be able to improve the quality of education. Again, if we have people coming into the private sector, I mean, playing a role in the education sector, like in other regions and districts, like the private sector, we have people setting up private schools. I know in Bolga, we have a great provider. There's a private school in Bolga, and even my hometown, Tumu, we have also have great providers there. They are private schools. They are largely, they produce much better results really compared to the public schools. So if we have people who are putting up such schools, then the doctors and other staff who are posted to these areas will now escape. But largely, it is the government response, and government must invest more in the education sector, in the roads, and in the roads as well, because we will need a collection of this or a mix of this to attract people there. But as I've said already, it is not an excuse for a doctor or a nurse to refuse posting there. And Ghana Health Service must ensure that we have
the national average is about one doctor looking at 10,000 people, which is way off scale. That's the national average.
Yeah.
When you get up north, you're looking 60,000 plus. And that's like the minimum. I mean, there are some that go up to 80,000.
Yeah.
I did a check a few years ago, and there was not even one dentist. No dentist. In all the 3 regions, there wasn't one dentist there. However, we don't hear a lot of agitation from the north that, hey, pay attention to this. We don't have ABCD here.
Yeah, I mean, you have a point, and it is true. But I think some people feel a bit helpless to the extent that they feel like, what can we do? It's like they've thrown their hands in the air and it's like, what can we do? Because I have worked in I've gone around almost every part of the country, by virtue of the various organizations I've worked for, and I've seen that you have dedicated physicians manning some of these facilities, and they are overburdened. And the saddest thing is that for those who have accepted posting there and they are working there, they are so constrained to the extent that some of the tools they need to wear, they don't even have it. Look, I remember there was a colleague of mine who was working in Sabuba Chirpone district. Is it Chirpone? Yes, Chirpone. And the vehicle they have will always break down. And there was one day she went to hospital, and then she came back, she called me, we were having a conversation. She was down. She was basically crying. I said, what is the issue? She said there was this woman who was brought pregnant. She was to deliver, and like they needed to refer her to Yendi. There was no vehicle to convey this woman from Sabuba to Yendi. So I asked her,
what would be the distance? About 10 kilometers?
No, not 10, it's more than 10 kilometers. I think it's about 30, 40.
Okay.
And the road is very bad. So I asked, so was the DC not there? Couldn't they have used the DC vehicles? They said the DC was out of town. So eventually the woman died. Jesus. And that was why she was broken. And day in, day out, we have a lot of people dying because of this pregnancy. And I asked myself, when they bring vehicles to the Ghana Health Service, you realize that most of the 9 vehicles end up remaining in Accra, Kumasi, and the regional capitals. Meanwhile, our district health directors who are working in very deplorable conditions at the remote districts are given the most rotten and broken vehicles. And that's one aspect the Ghana Health Service will need to look like. At least we should resource them, provide them with vehicles that can withstand the roads, not to send the broken down vehicle or the vehicles that are already weak and crash to them, and then we keep the new ones. They should rather use those vehicles that are in good condition. At least if you are in Accra and the vehicle is not working, at least they are private ambulances, etc. But those in the remote communities do not have these ambulances. So it is also the kind of problem we have where we have power concentrated in the center, and for them they take advantage of the resources that come to the Ghana Health Service, and you have most of the well-functioning vehicles and other vehicles in these urban areas. So there's no equity. Those who have accepted position are burning out and they are struggling, and to some extent the management of the facilities too leaves a lot to be desired. I remember when Dr. Awuna Williams, who was the regional health director for Upper East, was there, he changed healthcare delivery in Upper East region. He actually resourced to initiatives, resourced a lot of funds. Because at that time I was going out on my monitor and I went to most of the chiefs compounds, and he has actually installed solar facilities at the chiefs compounds. And I remember I had conversations with him in his office, and he told me that sometimes there's lack of initiative. A medical doctor is posted to a district hospital. The district director reports to him that there's no accommodation to accommodate, yet there is internal generator funds sitting in the account. All that the district director needed to do was to write to him and perhaps suggest that we would like to use part of our internal generator funds to put up this facility so that we can accommodate our doctor. There was a classical example where he gave in one of the district capitals that do not, district hospital that do not have water. And so they were buying water tankers supply them. At the end of the day, I think they spend much money buying water, and yet if they were to drill a borehole,
would have been cheaper.
Would have spent much less. And these are some of the issues.
Let me go on the phone and speak to Dr. Aidan. Now, Dr. Aidan, when finished school, was posted straight up north, so he can tell us exactly what's going on there. Dr. Aidan, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Nana and Sakwa.
Good. Thank you for joining us. Now, yes. We're looking at, number one, doctor-patient ratio in the north, and then we are looking at doctors who are refusing posting to the north. Now, I believe when you finished school, you were posted to the north.
Yes, that's true. Yes, I finished school in the year 2014, and I must say, I actually chose to be posted to the north, in the sense that when I finished first year house job, we had the opportunity to go to Kolebu to be there for a year. But I personally contacted my regional director, Koku Awono, who he rightly mentioned, and I pushed that I be posted to Bolga Regional Hospital to work. So that's just a little bit about, yes, where I worked once I finished school. And later on, I've worked in other places in the northern region for this past 2 years. Yeah.
Now, most of your colleagues don't want to go up there. So why did you choose to go up there?
I must say it has to do more with a personal conviction and motivation. I remember telling the interview panel when I wanted to go to medical school that I just wanted to come back and serve my people. Unfortunately, with all those reasons, I never had a chance to gain entry as a regular student. I had to go through fee paying. To be a fee-paying student. So when it comes to the point when your guest mentioned the fact that people who have to have taxpayers, they are usually being paid by taxpayers, usually posting to the north, I don't kind of agree with that totally, because yes, we have people who have financed themselves through medical education and have come out and accepted and actually wanted to work in the three northern regions. I have friends currently who have chosen to work in places in Nabrongo and in Bog and the like. So I don't know where the statistics are coming from, because I have friends who I know on the ground are working in the northern regions, as I can say. So for me, it was more of a personal conviction and motivation. Aside all the push factor. Yeah.
What would be an advantage to your colleague, let's say, that got posted to Kolebu, as to you that go to Bolga? Would one have an advantage over the other?
Yes, I must say yes. There are advantages. I just remember speaking to a colleague of mine who was telling me about her working experience. Yes, about her working experience and. Hello.
Yeah, Doc, I'm here.
Yeah. So he tells me that she works for, let's say, she goes for, let's say a shift every day for 3 days in a week. And then she has the opportunity to go and do locums in other private, hospitals where she can make more money, for instance. Yeah, so she can go to work just on the Monday or Wednesday and probably a Friday, and then she has other locum sports, other side jobs to do. As against people who accept postings to the north, where probably maybe the only doctor in the hospital, and then you are required to work the whole day. You are on call. You have the opportunity, and that's necessary work extra hours in other private facilities, if there are, which in most cases we find in those communities. That thing is that, yes, when it comes to progressing your educational ladder, my colleagues in Colivia and others in the teaching hospitals have a better advantage. Yes, the fact is that you are in touch with people who give you, yes, good counsel, people who have the connections and who would easily link you up and help you in terms of furthering your education. But you find out that most of the people who find them, who are successful things to rural areas and other places, sometimes they're even burdened by the workload alone. And some reason, yes, you have, little time to study, and there are so many people who have worked for so many years and have just remained as public medical officers in rural areas just in a bid to sacrifice. However, those who stay down there, yes, they kind of find the letters very quickly. And in future, there are those people here that people are going to be hailing as the successful people, forgetting that someone chose to work in some rural area some years ago. So maybe the loser at the end of it.
One of the issue that came up is that those who start a family, if you're down south, the chances of getting a good school for the kids growing up can also be better than those who go to the north and also want to start a family. You being on the ground, is that factual?
That is very, very true, Nana. You see, as I speak now, yes, going through, yes, posting in the northern region, I have had the opportunity to work in much rural areas than Bolga. And I can tell you that I've gone to a school to talk to them, and the best student in primary 6 could not spell the word class. That is the best student in the whole of class 6. So you see, now I look at the future. Yes, I need to accept postings to that community, probably yes, that year. But in 2 years' time, when I bring forth children, where are they going to have their education? You get the point. So sometimes, it's not just all about yourself. If we're, and people who, if we're not married, when you're not married, sometimes you can take that decision, you can take that risk and go to such things. But when you think of the future, when you think of the future of your children, then you ask yourself, yes, because this is the environment your child is going to be trained. You could probably decide to homeschool your child, but the environment surrounding the child has an influence on the upbringing and the future of your child. So this is a very concrete thing we need to look at. So sometimes not just people are refusing posting and all of that, but I think people are always thoughtful. You're thinking into the future. You have the best of schools in Accra and all of that. But when you come, yes, to some rural places, yes, you may decide that you are sacrificing to do the work. But the question is, what will be the future of your children in terms of their education?
Currently, you are at Boma Polyclinic, and you're probably the first doctor that has ever manned this place. So you seem to be very adventurous. What are you doing? You're doing like your first 5-6 years, doing all your rural rounds, and then you hit the city. What's the plan?
Yeah, I think that the plan, I must say, is something. Yes, I'm keeping audacious one, I must say. I've been a person who I've always wanted to chart my own path in so many things. I think one of my major motivations for going there was to make a mark, and that mark would depend on how things are and how the future holds. Yes.
How are the facilities at Boma Polyclinic? Do you have the basics to work with?
Yes, we have the basics. We have the basics. It's a polyclinic. the bed capacity is not that much. We don't, as I speak now, we don't have an anesthesia machine. So, for instance, if my wife is to be with me in Bomai, and it so happens that she needs an urgent operation, I have to think twice. I probably have to move my wife when if I have a wife and she's pregnant during that time, I can't offer. The best of services in terms of the cesarean section if there need be. So that's the place I have chosen to go. So these are the things that come up. Health delivery, health care is also a factor. But the question you ask, I keep asking myself when I was in Bolga was that if I happen to have a head injury, where would I survive? When I was in Bolga, we had a lot of head injury cases, and the closest place you could go to was Primary Teaching Hospital. And even there, you were not assured of the fact that you could get such a service. So these are questions you should ask yourself. Even as a medical doctor, once you need certain key and essential services, would you find them within that vicinity you find yourself? Yes, I may accept, work in a place like Boma, but can I offer, neurosurgical procedures for myself or probably a relative, or can I get such services within, that community if I need that? So that's the reason why a lot of people would want to be, because sometimes your own life as well. You get the point?
Hold on for me 1 second. I have on the phone Dr. Anthony Siasari, who's the Director General, Ghana Health Service. So basically, this is right on his doorstep.
Okay.
Doctor, you're welcome. Dr. Asari.
Thank you.
Doc, we are trying to find out how it is that we can keep doctors that you post up north to stay there. And they're giving a myriad of issues why it's not very comfortable to stay. Some do stay, others, abscond. I'm sure these issues come to your notice.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening to your cherished listeners and all those watching you on the television.
Good.
Yes, this has been a very chronic problem which is bedeviling this country. Ghana is a developing country. We don't have development at the same stage in all the 10 regions of the country.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, there are a lot of pull factors for health professionals in general where they move, especially doctors. I always say that the pull factors should also be created by the regions and the districts themselves. I believe until the time that we have equal development, which is very far away, I don't foresee that one in the next few decades. The various managers and the various political heads in the various regions and the various districts should do everything possible to also make life very conducive and have a living environment where people will be attracted to go and work in these areas. By so saying, I also say that it takes an individual, or it takes a very good manager to be able to also attract doctors and other health professionals to his or her facility. I know a few managers who have been able to attract a lot of health professionals, especially doctors, while they were managers. And this is the carrot thing that you put before a doctor. Every young doctor who is coming to work, the first thing the doctor needs is he wants to improve on his profession. He wants to be able to learn things that he was taught in the medical school, put it into practice. He wants to have a very good working environment where he will get, for example, laboratory backup. He will get theater to work. He has things that he needs. If he wants to do surgery, he can easily do it. He has supporting staff, that is both nurses and laboratory, X-ray technicians, radiographers, and the rest. If you put a young doctor at a place, and he cannot do what he wants to do, how he wants to improve him or herself, as far as his profession or her profession is concerned, then there's a problem. But sometimes it's also the fear of the unknown. We hear a lot of things about some other areas in Ghana that, oh, it's very difficult, the weather situation is not good, it's not too conducive, especially during the Harmattan period, and I'm talking about the three northern regions. I'm somebody who has worked both down south, in the middle belt, and also in the north. I've worked in Tamale for 5.5 years. And when I went to Tamale, in my middle age, I thought I should have gone there when I was even younger. There are people who have also come up north and worked and remain here up north to also retire. So there are a lot of things that everybody considers.
Doc, let me come in here. The doctors who go and work for like the Christian hospitals in the same areas don't, complain as much as those who work for Ghana Health Service. So, I mean, what are the Christian hospitals doing that Ghana Health Service is not doing?
You see, every human being wants something, even if it is small. That whatever everybody is receiving is also receiving something slightly higher. What I know, I've worked in a Christian health institution before, worked in a Catholic hospital before, where when we were working in the Catholic hospital, I was in a village. I have other friends and other colleagues who were also in a very remote village, even more than where I was. But we had what we call a top-up. Every human being wants to be appreciated. And that's one of the things that the Christian Health Association of Ghana hospitals do, which is not done in the public service. But I've always been saying, if you are a manager in a public health institution, and you can create things and make sure that you have things to work with, why not? There are other incentives apart from maybe monetary incentives. If the person you are working with wants to go for training, you sponsor the person. If the person wants to develop him or herself, you take the person to wherever he wants to go and develop him or herself. And people become happy in such situations. It's not only always money, but it is the way you treat your fellow worker, or you treat your people that you are leading in the workplace.
Doc,
and that to me is a trick
Doc,
that the institutions are using that our public health institutions are not learning from.
Doc, the other thing I wanted to find out, and I hope that now that you're in charge, you would appreciate your young men out there. But the other one I wanted to find out from you is that when normally somebody gets posted to, let's say, Wale Wale and decide, look, I'm not going to work, quickly rush down to Koforidia or somewhere, he still gets paid, from the same system. Is there no penalty to say, look, I'm sending your wages to Wale Wale, and if you want it, go there and take it. If you're coming to Koforidia, you're on your own.
I, as a person, and I don't believe in posting. And I'll explain why I don't believe in posting. Mm-hmm. In this world, everybody looks for a job to do. Mm-hmm. You may post somebody to maybe Wale Wale, and post somebody who maybe would have loved to go to Wale Wale to Kofoldia. If you have left the people to go and then go for an interview, and then look for the job and decide that this is where I want to work, this situation will minimize. That's why I believe that what we should do is to know the gaps that we have in the various regions so far as doctors are concerned.
Doc, but 87% of about the doctors you have are all down south.
Yes. So where the gaps are up north. So what I'm proposing, which I'm going to do, which I've started doing, is that first. In fact, last year what I did was I started conducting interviews in May. And all the doctors who were given to us for financial clearance, we conducted interview, but we gave them a choice. We asked them to choose 3 places. And I realized that most of them were choosing down south. Only few of them were bold to write Upper West. I saw one of them, Upper West, Upper West, Upper West. And a few of them wrote Upper East, don't have region. Most of them wrote Greater Accra, Greater Accra, Greater Accra, Greater Accra, Eastern region, Ashanti region. So then there's a problem. So what I want to do, hopefully this year, is that we will know, say, Upper East need about 20 doctors. Northern region needs 20 doctors. Greater Accra needs maybe 5 doctors. We will give this number of doctors with that need to the region. And I'm proposing to my council, and I know they will accept it, that we conduct interviews in the regional capitals, no more in Accra. We take people from Accra to go and support the regions, conduct the interviews around the same period, so that if you have the VIM and you want to come to Greater Accra where there are only 5 doctors, where about 50 of them are competing, the chances of you being employed there is 1 in 10. And if Greater Bohafo region has about 15, and there are about 20 people asking for the job, your chances of having a job there is about 15 over 20. And if most of the people are supposed to go to Northern region, Upper East and Upper West, and they are about 50 each, and only few people go there, your chances are about 100%. And I'm sure in so doing, you can push people with incentives. What I would say, incentives. People who are living in those 3 regions, you also entice people with some incentives. Some of the incentives are that when you come, you get accommodation, easily get accommodation. If you are in Accra, you have to go and rent your own house. And I think the young ones who go there, when they go for the interview, if the person has never been to, for example, WA before, and he comes to WA, then he will say, oh, all what the people have been talking about, why that's not how it is. He can even ask that which area in WA, which district am I going? They say, okay, you are going to maybe Namdong. After the interview, he can ask the regional director that, can you give me a vehicle to go and look at how Namdong looks like, go and look at my accommodation there and everything. And I think it will entice people to go there. In addition, I will also encourage the metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, especially the district chief executive and the metropolitan and the municipal chief executive, to also make sure that they need doctors to work off in their district. They should have an accommodation which is well furnished, and maybe even a vehicle at the disposal of the doctors. When I was a young doctor and I went to a few countries, there was a VW which was available for all the young doctors with a driver to move to anywhere that we want to go to. And these things can easily be done. And then the regional ministers should also be enticing doctors to their region, especially where we have problems. If you do that, and we do the interviews very well, I'm sure for about 5 years or 6 years, a young doctor, before he goes to do his or her postgraduate education, will accept posting to these regions. That's where the work is. If you are maybe alone or you are about 3 in a region or in a district hospital, you see a lot of cases. If you want to do surgery, you can get a lot of cases in your practice to see and also to operate. You come back and you're coming to do your postgraduate studies, there will be no problem. In addition, I don't believe that we should also say that anybody who goes to these regions that people don't want to go to should stay there forever. We should also try and encourage such young people to be sponsored by those institutions to come and do their postgraduate, and then they are bonded and they will come back and serve you for another number of years. For all you care, this young man or this young woman who has not married may be coupled whilst he's in the region or in the district, or maybe 3, 4, 5 years. And then you give somebody there, and then I've seen people who have worked in the northern region, Upper East and Upper West, who have stayed here for 35 years and went on pension, and they are still living in Tamale and other cities in the 3 northern regions. So in my opinion, this is the way to entice people to go to these areas to work.
Thank you very much.
Carrot and stick approach. Approach.
Dr. Anthony Siasare, thank you very much, Director General, Ghana Health Service. Sidu, I think you were speaking in the right direction.
Brilliant. I think very, very progressive, and I really like his thoughts on the way forward. I think that if, like you said, they should advertise the vacancies. For example, Tumu District Hospital, vacancy for 5 doctors or 3 doctors. Lambusia District Hospital, vacancy for 3 doctors, so that doctors who are in need of job can apply, go and compete with their colleagues. And in that case, when they get a job, they will have no reason to say they don't want. Because I read, over the week, I read online that junior doctors are agitating, asking Ghana Health Service to post them. So in other words, they are looking for jobs. So it's an opportunity for the Director General of Ghana Health Service and Ghana Health Service in general to decentralize the recruitment and either the districts or the regions to advertise for the vacancies. And then if they decide not to apply and their colleagues apply and get the offers, they will have no one to blame. They cannot say that Ghana Health Service has refused to post them. To the extent that they are agitating to be posted means that they are looking for a job. So Ghana Health Service should take. I think that's a brilliant way to go about it. And he also.
Well, I'll come back to you. Let me go on the phone and speak to Gabriel Bananko, who's Executive Director, Coalition for NGOs in Health. Hello and welcome. Hello, Gabriel. Okay, I think the line dropped. You and your point, yeah.
And then the Director General also confirmed something about what is being done within the CHAC facilities, which is not done at the Ghana Health Service, or within the facilities, which is a little bit of motivation. And he also alluded, he also alluded to something that if district health directors can have some initiative and they are able to generate some resources, they'll be given some kind of flexibility to see how they can use some part of that internal generated funds to motivate their staff so that they will stay and then give out their best. And these are some of the things that I think the district health directors and regional health directors can do. But by and large, central government will still need to do some of the things they have to do, like road infrastructure. You know, that is actually capital intensive. Yes.
That's a whole headache on its own.
Yes.
So.
And then the other issue was what I talked about. They should try to resource the facilities, the peripheral facilities. You know, there are some of the medical doctors who are really willing to work, but they are so constrained because there are simple things they want to do that they don't have the tools to do. They are so constrained, so they feel like they are losing out twice because they are not in the cities where they can go and do local and get extra money. But the tools that they also need to work and get the kind of experience that maybe some of their colleagues will not get, they don't have the opportunity to perform some of the operations or their work. So I think Ghana Health Service will also need to send resources to the peripheral facilities, resource them more.
We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, the conversation continues. Don't move. Well, thank you very much for staying. We're looking at doctors who reject postings up north and those who literally go and abscond. Well, our friend in the north, Samuel from Walawali, has sent a message. We all know, we all like Samuel. Says, good evening. Nana, in my own view, most doctors reject posting to the north due to lack of education about the north. People are quite ignorant. The frequent conflicts in certain parts of the north is not helping the matter. I remember telling my schoolmate to accept postings to teach in the north, and he refused due to conflicts. The MPs and the MMDAs in the area have also done little to solve the problem. The MPs and the district should think of using part of their common fund to train people in the area in the medical schools. Politicians also interfere in the postings process. They change the postings of their friends to places they want. Our friend Samuel up north. I think very relevant. Very relevant, you know. Number one, people are quite ignorant. Yeah. I was talking to him and says, his friend was saying, oh, can I get sachet water to buy if I come up north? I mean, that's how.
you know, the truth is this. I have met a lot of people, and I've been fortunate to travel almost every corner of the country till date. I still travel around. And I meet a lot of people, and it's like, they've never traveled out of Accra. They've never traveled beyond Accra and Kumasi. I'm like, do you really know the country you are from? I mean, anytime I meet somebody, I feel sad for the person because the person is like doesn't actually know the country in which he's only in a town or city. That does not make you balance. It's like you are not informed because there are so many things happening, exciting things happening across this country. I tell you, when you travel out the city, Kumasi and Accra, you will see that this country is beautiful and there are very exciting things happening and very exciting people with so many opportunities happening. I tell you, because if you go to going towards Jirapa, you know, around there are currently exploring.
I've only been up to Bolga, having gone further.
They are currently making serious exploitation for gold there, Nangodi there. There are a whole lot of things happening. In my own district, it's now a food basket because during the harvest season, a lot of trucks go to Tumu and they load a lot of maize to Tachima and the city. So there's a whole lot happening. But people...
Some of the conflicts haven't helped. You see, because sometimes when we say northern region, somebody is sitting at Accra thinking northern region is like Kumasi. So there's one town called northern region. You know, nobody knows that maybe if something is happening in Tamale, there'll be somebody in Wa who has absolutely no idea of what's happening. So maybe information, the ignorance is not helping the issue.
Let me tell you something. I think sometimes I blame the media. When there are events in the north and the media is reporting, they tend to classify the northern as one single region. And then when there's a conflict in one particular location in the north, it's like they say there's fighting in the northern. It's like the whole northern. But there are three distinct regions. We have Upper West region, and usually when I meet people who don't know, I say, okay, we have three different regions, just like we have Eastern region, Central region, Volta region, etc. So there are three different regions. We have Upper West region, which is big, diverse. Upper Eastern, huge and diverse, and Northern region, huge and diverse. And each of these three regions are unique in their own way, with nice tourist attractions. That is true. There are some conflicts in certain parts of the north, but it doesn't mean that the whole of the northern region is burning. I'm talking of northern region, not northern Ghana. That is a mistake people make. We have northern region, which has Tamale as its capital. We have Upper East region, Bogatanga, and Upper West region, which have Wa as the capital. And so even in the northern region, where we have Bunkrugu and some part of where we have some conflict, sometimes when you are in Tamale, you might not even realize that there's something happening there until you are in that particular community. So sometimes it is the media does not tell the story well. It is the same case when CNN tend to brand Africa, paint a bad picture about Africa. It's the same way some of the media houses or some of the reporters tend to report about the North. And I think we all need to be educated, and people need to also travel outside Accra and see the beauty of this country.
Well, I think in conclusion, I think Dr. Insiasar is like a breath of fresh air, and I hope it will really, really bridge a lot of the gap if he's able to achieve it.
I think I'm very excited, and I'm going home tonight knowing that we have a Director General of Ghana Health Service who is very progressive in terms of how he thinks the problems should be to address, and I like his bold step, and I think that, and I'm hoping that the Ghana Health Service Council will support him to ensure that this noble initiative is bringing, will see the light of day. In fact, if he gets the needed support, I think that in the next 2 years, we'll address this problem. And what I would suggest, in addition to what he said, is that instead of opening up some vacancies in Accra and the cities, what he can do is, those who have already there serving the rural areas, he should transfer them to come and fill these vacancies so that all the fresher ones that are coming will begin the opportunity to apply for the vacancies. The district or regions to open the vacancies, advertise them in the papers and online, and then the radio, so that all those who are seeking for a job or who are waiting to be posted can apply. In that case, if they refuse to apply, then they cannot blame Ghana Health Service that they have not posted them, and there will not be any reason why somebody will say that we have finished our training and we are sitting at home. So I think that I encourage him to go, and I think it's a brilliant idea. And I'm also using this platform to call on the Ghana Health Service to give him the needed support. It's a brilliant idea.
One thing he said, which is very instructive, was that look on the bright side, that you could be the only doctor there. So as far as experience is concerned in different conditions and complications, you get in touch with so many people, which advances you for your own upgrade. So it's not all doom and gloom.
Absolutely. Like I said, I have quite a number of my friends who are doctors. And like I said, that friend and a colleague of mine, he was managing one of the facilities at Sabuba. And she had the opportunity to do a lot of things in terms of the work she was doing. You know, she was always performing surgeries, and those that she needed support, she get support for, virtual support, and she was programmed. She was so happy about her work, and in no time she's now doing her specialization. And
well, very soon.
Yeah.
Very soon, there's a new sheriff in town, and he's saying that I'll advertise the positions, and then, hey, you can come and fight for it. If you want to stay in Accra, the competition is keen. If you want to go up north, it's a bit easier, and it's to your own benefit. They'll give you a little bit more incentive, and you have the chance of playing proper boss, because you'll probably be the only doctor there, so you'll be the boss, You have a lot of people to look after to gain experience. The gap should be bridged. And as usual, I give you this number, 024 366 2001. 024 366 2001. And that's Tantis Fashion, who makes my shirts. They are running a huge discount now at the shops. So give them a call, tell them you want some of the shirts, and ask for your discount. But thank you very much for coming. It's been interesting, and hopefully there's a solution in the air.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back to do this all over again. Tomorrow is Hard Truth.